against previous actions that resulted in a crash. I leave this with myself and you. Let us use life and turn to Allah. For Allah is always loving, very caring, full of compassion, and always willing, when you and I are willing, to give us a hand up so that life can be different. فَاسْتَغْفِرُوهُ إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ. Brothers and sisters, one of the great features of this epoch-making time, Ramadan, is the Qur'an. And there's a few questions that Allah put to us, found in chapter 68, Surah Qalam, verse 36 to 38. Imagine Allah is questioning you and me, so you don't have to answer me, and I don't have to answer you. This is the beauty. But you and I have to answer who? Allah. When? Not when we are dead. We have to start answering that now, if we weren't answering it before. And hear what he says. Because there are people who are confused. They really don't know who is a Muslim, and they really don't know who is a mujrim. Ajrama yujrimu mujrim. You translated a criminal. Aslama yuslimu Muslim. Mujrim is not famous, maybe in Urdu, right? Or in Bengali, that's famous perhaps. But in Arabic, both of these words are known. Aslama means, it comes from the verb salima, to be at peace, to be safe. But aslama means to guarantee peace and to guarantee safety and to submit to the divine courses that will bring those into realization. Ajrama means to wrong someone, to commit crimes against someone. That's why they translate mujrim as a criminal. Somebody who has done great harm to society. So, in chapter 68, Surah Al-Qalam, verse 35, Allah is asking the question, do you make the Muslimin and Muslimat, they are all included in there, do you make them just like the criminals? That's when we don't have proper eye vision. We are not seeing too well. We have cataract, we have glaucoma, we have all kinds of things. So we are not seeing too good. So it's easy to call a Muslim a mujrim and easy to call a mujrim a Muslim. Do the research and you'll see our folly is evident all over. So then here's the question Allah says to us. Why is it you're doing like this? Ma lakum, what's wrong with you? Kayfa tahkumun? How do you pass your values, your judgment? How do you make your assessment? How do you arrive at your estimation and perception? Ma lakum? Kayfa tahkumun? Am lakum kitab? Do you have another book? Am lakum kitab? Do you have another book? Allah sent the Qur'an to all of us through the Prophet. Study this verse, ask your ulama. Study this verse without baggages. The Qur'an says, Ma lakum, O people, what's wrong with you? Kayfa tahkumun? How do you arrive at judgment? That you can't establish the difference between people who submit to divine loftiness and people who corrupt this loftiness and corrupt society. أَمْ لَكُمْ كِتَابٌ فِيهِ تَدْرُسُونَ. Do you have another book which you study? We need to understand. This is not from me. I am just trying to understand this in my life now. And I'm sharing it with you. Let us become students of the Qur'an. All this love we were showing in Ramadan for the Qur'an, I invite you, let us become students of the Qur'an. As big as we may be, as old as we may be, as educated as we may be. Come on! Let's have dialogue of the Qur'an. Healthy, etymological dialogue. Dialogue of syntax. Dialogue of sense. Dialogue of relevancy of the Qur'an. Let's come and study it. But let's not make excuses and use the little inconveniences. Otherwise, I hope we realize what we are doing. We are suffering ourselves. We are suffering our family. We are suffering this society that we can become the benefactors of. I ask you to become a student of the Qur'an. And who's the best teacher to teach the Qur'an? Not Sheikh such and such, and Imam such and such, and Maulana such and such. Who's the best teacher of the Qur'an? Allah. Who you think taught Prophet Mohamed? Allah. But when you and I lose touch with this Qur'an, we run to so many other people and we forget Allah. Chapter 55, Ar-Rahman, this God that is full of love, full of mercy, full of compassion. Ar-Rahman, Allama al-Qur'an. Was this a past tense? Qur'an didn't tell us that. Wattaqullah, the Qur'an tells us, Wattaqullah, secure your relationship with Allah, preserve it. Don't let it go to the dogs. وَيُعَلِّمُكُمُ اللَّهُ, and Allah will teach you. I'm a student of the Qur'an. And what this Qur'an teaches is very difficult to find in the world in which we live in. People popularly known in this path. You might find, if you dig deep, you might find one or two people here and there. We are indebted to the mercy of Allah that He sent through His messengers. All of them. Without no discrimination. Because there is no authority in the Qur'an to elevate some and to debase some. لا نفرق بين أحد منهم. We do not discriminate between any of them. وَنَحْنُ لَهُ مُسْلِمُونَ. And we are required to be in submission to Allah. We ask Allah to bless the memory of all of His messengers and help us as we are striving to search for their messages, that in our life we can reach it. Because our progress depends so much on it. Our society, our world depends so much on it. Give us that energy, O Allah, and help us to understand. We ask Allah to give us all life and health and strength, but we have to work for them as well, so that we can make tomorrow better by starting today. Let us start in Salah.